think some of this is probably my fault for not being involved, but I feel like as our commissioners, it's your job to make sure the public stays informed. I'm going to read just the first paragraph off of the paper from November 14th, 2002. Not a lot of people know this.
2000 when?
2002. The first reading of the revised Unified Development Ordinance and new sign and adult entertainment ordinance will be held at our regular meeting in Lincoln County. There's a lot of people in this county that don't realize we have an adult entertainment ordinance. I think that's something that the people ought to have a choice in and to say so with that kind of stuff. I really don't want to see a dirty bookstore in Lincoln County. Some of the zoning stuff that's gone on as far as the enforcement of it, how it all went down, just made me uncomfortable. When you did this zoning back in 2002, you sent out a map that has nothing but R1, R2, and R3 on it. And it states in there that the major areas affected by the proposed changes have been indicated by R1, R2, and R3. That there was A1 and A2 and A3 involved in this. Earlier I showed Mr. Clyde a map, our county zoning map, that shows my property as being lakefront agriculture. I couldn't hit the lake with a 30-06. But you go down to Chamberlain's Ferry Road and there's lakefront property that's considered A2, interior agriculture. I'm just kind of wondering who did these maps and how this is going to work. And then I didn't realize that when we went into this, that our zoning enforcement and stuff, how it would work. I mean, it takes time to see how something evolves. You don't just automatically see it right off the get-go. And it turned out it's more of a snitch-based system. We've got a county code enforcement officer. As far as I'm concerned, he should know our county codes like a police officer knows the law. If he sees something that he knows doesn't look right, he should investigate it. He should check it out. There has been a couple incidences where it's been brought up. I had a friend of mine, for an example, that had a place down in Indian Cove. He didn't pull a permit. Bobby's familiar with this case. He didn't. He let his contractor handle it because his contractor was out of Carolina, and it was just a shed, rounded shed, boat shed, but it wasn't on a slab, and he was under the impression because it wasn't on a permanent foundation, he didn't have to pull a permit. Well, anyway, he puts it in. Well, there's no big deal till the code man comes around, and I don't know if somebody complained, because that's how I feel like it's being done. It's more of a snitch-based system, because they're missing a lot of obvious stuff in the county. And they tell him, well, you got to replace that roof. So $1,700, he replaces the roof. But he brings up the other ones in the neighborhood that had the same roof they just made him remove. Nothing's ever been done. We'll look into that. First he was told they were grandfathered in, and when we went through Google Earth, we can tell that they were put in after the ordinance was implemented. So it just makes me wonder. That's like we're bringing up the Verizon tower tonight. They have 180 days from the day they're issued that permit. Now, you've held the people, the residents of this county, speak to the fire when it comes to this ordinance. I'm expecting you to do the same. We also have an AT&T tower that's supposed to be going on board National Road. That permit was issued on May 13th of last year. So I don't know how that one's going to work out right now, because I think that's where they're marking the stakes at across the MLWs right now. You're more familiar with that than I am.
I'm just as familiar as it really as I am.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering how this stuff is working out, because it seems like certain people get more leeway than others. So I'll just leave it at that, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I want to address the adult entertainment. I can't remember everything happened in 2002, but as well as I can remember and recollect, our legal counsel at that time was Mr. Ben Barron Ross, who deceased and served 28 years in the Georgia legislature in the House of Representatives. A lot of things that went in when we did that after public hearings that some people don't think was right, but it was. We did everything according to the law that we had to do to it. If we didn't, then we need to be sued and done. But as far as us making changes, we're not going to change A3, and that's not going to happen. R3 or what is it, Robbie? A3 or, that's not gonna change where you live. And you bought that property in 2005. Well, on the GQ Public, it says 2005, but I could stand to be corrected. But anyway, you know, it's been a long time ago. And planning and zoning is done for reasons. And naturally, it could be a few places it was done, and I think a lot of things, maybe some things were changed. We amend it occasionally, or we add other things that we're going to be doing in the next few months that we're going to be adding. But you are in an A3 zone, and no mobile home can be there. That lot was grandfathered in. If it was done today after 2003, you'd have had 2.5 acres, not 1.79 acres. So I'm talking now, you had your 5 minutes. But adult entertainment, it's very, very little about it, but it is something about it, and I don't think anybody could put an adult entertainment place in Lincoln County that would pass this commission. If it wasn't in there, and we had nothing that addressed adult entertainment, we had nothing to go by so they could come do it because we had no reason for them not to do it. So it's a reason that that's done. We had attorneys and people that do this every day to draw this ordinance up. They're still working on it. It probably does 50% of them and across this whole state. Teaches most of the classes at the University of Georgia College Institute. So I'll put up the county's ordinances wherever you want to take it. Now, do we hit every place that we need to hit? Probably not. We got 1.5 people. We probably need 5. Look at all the houses that's going on. How many trips do they make to each one of those houses? Yes, we got junk in some people's yards, and some people do things and don't get permits, and we catch them later. You know, I hope everybody understands that we fly this county now every 3 years. And we have gone back and looked at, just went online, you don't keep public, you look at it a good bit, and you can see some things, and we can tell what was there 3 years ago and what's there today. And we have gone and did some things. But every time you come to that microphone, you complain about Director Seymour and his department. Every time. Now, I'm satisfied that we probably make some mistakes. And I'm going to tell you something, we're going to make some more. Because if you don't do nothing, you don't make no mistakes. If you do something, you're going to make one. But you're here to talk about that ordinance every other month. The ordinance is not going to change if you come every month. That part is not going to change. So I don't know why you need to just keep continuing coming to talk about land codes, but you have that right to come and speak 5 minutes every time we meet. But I can tell you, it will not change your zoning from what it is today. Okay? All right, let's go to Verizon, item number 9.